For today's class, all I wanted to do was correct the homework that I had given you over the last two classes. I had given you it was actually the 2002 question, trench transport, and basically just to do out this question in full. We've done out a few depreciation questions. From our next class, we are going to go on to a different variation of this, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult. But it's kind of same way, very similar at the same time. So again, look, I'm just going to speed through this. So this is the details of the three vehicles we had at the start, and these are the costs. So I fill in vehicle number 1, 66, vehicle number 2, 72, vehicle number 3, 78. I bought them all on these dates, so I know that obviously this one I had from the full of 1996 onwards for the next 4 years up until the question starts in 2000. So I simply get the depreciation 15% each year, and that's the total. For the vehicle number 2 and vehicle number 3, I purchased them during the year, so therefore the year they were purchased, for example, vehicle number 2 was purchased in 97, it's only there for 4 months in 97, so the amount is reduced, and then it was 12 months in 98 and 12 months in 99. Again, a vehicle number 3, because it was purchased after 2 months of a year 1998, this 78,000 is multiplied by 15% and multiplied by 10 months divided by 12, and obviously I'm getting my 9750. And then for the next year, it's a full year. We had it for all of 99. So you add up all of these figures and you get your total column. The only other thing we have here is the refrigerator, because if we read through this here, we found that vehicle number 1 had a refrigerated unit attached on the 1st of the 1st 98, costing 16 grand. Depreciation was 30% for the first 2 years. So its cost was 16 grand. We bought it at the very beginning in 1998. So therefore it is 30% the first 2 years. 16,000 by 30% gives me 4,800 for both years. Again, this column is just everything added up from 96 to 99. And I have my total depreciation as the question starts. The only other thing I'm doing here now is I also want to know how much this total depreciation adds up to. So I have it here, 95850. I also want to know what the cost of everything I own adds up to, and that's 2320. Because those figures are important, because if you look at the question down here, my depreciation balance at the beginning of the 1st of the 1st 2000 is going to go in here. I'll call it my balance 1st of the 1st rather than balance BD, but this is going in here as my beginning balance for my depreciation. And the total balance here for the cost that I had for all the vehicles I owned at the beginning of 2000 is going in here as my balance at the start of the vehicles account. So those figures, this figure here and also this other one here, are both taken from these bold figures. Total depreciation at the beginning of 2000, total cost at the beginning of 2000. Just to finish off the table nice and quickly, the only other thing we have to look at now for the first year, vehicle number 3 was crashed after only 3 months. So when I get vehicle number 3 depreciation, it's after 3 months, and then because I sold it, I'm going to total the depreciation up to 2000 plus the depreciation after 2000. Gives me 24,375. The vehicle was purchased was vehicle number 4, and it cost 96,000. I had it for the rest of 2000, so 96,000 my cost. I had it for the rest of that 2001, and or that's 2000. Sorry, just made a mistake here at the top of my dates. I had it for the rest of 2000 and all of 2001, so I worked those depreciation figures out. The following year, vehicle number 1 was crashed along with the fridge, so it was crashed after 7 months of the year. So for the first 7 months I get the depreciation. It works out at 5775 and 1400 for the fridge. Again, because it was crashed, we've now gotten rid of it, so I want to find out its total depreciation when I disposed of it. So I just add up everything before 2000 plus everything after 2000. And I get 55275. I do the same thing for the fridge. I add both those figures together because technically these vehicles are fixed assets are one and the same. So the total depreciation on the disposal of vehicle number 1 in the fridge adds up to 68,675. The vehicle number 5 was purchased. It cost 90 grand. Obviously purchased it the same day that I crashed the other one, so I had it for all of August, September, October, November, December. I had it for all of 5 months. So again, 90,000 by 15% by 5 divided by 12 gives me my 5625, because I had it for 5 months of the year, so I'm not getting a full year's depreciation. We never need to get the total depreciation for any vehicle that we didn't sell. So therefore I have nothing in this column for vehicle number 4, 5, or vehicle number 2. Vehicle number 2 is quite simply, just take your figure 72,000 multiplied by 15% every single time. And then that was that. So the figures I have in bold, mainly this one here, the total depreciation for these two. This one for vehicle number 3, total depreciation for 2001 for everything, total depreciation for 2000 for everything. They're figures that we're also going to take forward into the question. Now let's look at the question. I'm going to drag this guy down just to correct this. I'll correct the vehicles account nice and quick. Again, we have our balance that goes in at the start on both years. So my balance at the start of this year, 232, is taken from this guy. And obviously this balance at the beginning of 2001 is taken from my balance carried down here. Same thing here, balance carried down becomes balance brought down. But how do I get the rest of it? How do I fill in the rest of it? So if I look at this here, this is my balance in vehicles at the beginning of the year. I sold a vehicle. The vehicle I sold is vehicle number 3. That's its cost, 78 grand, so it goes out of cost. I bought a new vehicle. The new vehicle cost 96,000. Therefore, I add in the 96,000 here. So I'm selling a vehicle, it goes out. I'm buying a vehicle, it comes in. What's my remaining balance? 250. And I find that out because I've taken my balance of both sides into account. It's the same thing here. So this is my balance at the beginning of the year. What did I sell? What was its cost? I sold vehicle number 1 and I sold the fridge for 2001. So vehicle number 1 and the fridge total up to 82,000. 82,000 here goes out. What about the vehicle I purchased? Well, that cost 90 grand. You can see that here. So 90 grand goes in, debit side. All I'm doing now, balance both sides is 340. Difference here is 258, and that becomes a balance brought down. I'm going through this quickly, but if you've been following everything so far, this should be fairly straightforward. Depreciation, again, what's my balance at the beginning? I took this balance here from up top. First to the first 2000, this is the total depreciation. So I have that there at the beginning of 2000. What else happened during the year? Well, if I sell something, I need to take out all of the depreciation. So let's take out the depreciation here on the debit side. For the vehicle I got rid of in the year 2000, it was vehicle number 3. So what was the total depreciation of vehicle number 3? Total depreciation was 24,375. So 24,375 is going to go out. And I'm going to add in the depreciation for the year 2000. So that's depreciation for the year 2000, 36825. Where did I find that? Let's go up to our depreciation table. The year 2000, total depreciation, 36825. So this guy goes in there. So again, it's the same thing. This is the balance. Take away what I got rid of, add in the depreciation for the year, balance on both sides, and then I find my balance carried down. Balance carried down the end of 2000. Becomes the balance brought down at the beginning of 2001, 108,300. What do I do now? Well, I got rid of vehicle number 1 and I got rid of the fridge. So what was their total depreciation? It was 68,675 for both of them. Adds up to just short of 70 grand. So I put that figure in here because I want to get rid of this depreciation from this account because well, the vehicle is gone. My depreciation for the year 2001, I'm going to go up here and it totals up to 38 grand. Everything here adds up to 38 grand. So that's the figure that I fill in here. That's my balance brought down here, or my P&L here, because it's my total depreciation for that year. So I started with my balance brought down. I got rid of the depreciation that was sold from vehicle number 1 in the fridge, and I put in the depreciation for the year 2001. All I'm left to do, balance on both sides, 146,300. Balance carried down is the difference here on the debit side. Balance carried down in 2001 because the balance brought down at the beginning of 2002. Finally, let's look at this here. So my two disposal accounts. Again, this sometimes we don't see this as often because there's not as much involved in it, so just paying attention to it here. So I'm going to look at vehicle number 3 first because I sold that first. So vehicle number 3's cost was the let's see, up here, that's not the cost of new vehicle. Vehicle number 3 cost here is what I'm taking out, and for just doing this, all you have to do is go back to the previous two accounts. You look at anything that's called disposal number 3. This was the cost that I took out for vehicle number 3. So this 78,000 was on the credit side here. It goes on the debit side down here. This is my disposal for vehicle number 3. It's on the debit side here. So let's put it on the credit side down here, 24,375. So those top two figures I'm just taking from the previous two accounts. I'm just looking for vehicle number 3 disposal up here, and I'm just taking those figures and putting them both on the opposite sides. Now let's read the scale and see what else we have. So the company received compensation to the value of 28,000. So obviously they were involved in a crash. They received 28,000 compensation. I'm going to add that in. Now they don't tell us how much the trade-in value was, but we can figure it out because they've told us that basically, and if you think of this, you know, in a real life scenario, if somebody was involved in a crash and they, you know, they receive compensation, whatever, for injuries or damage or whatever, and then they go off and they decide, you know, my car, I have to write off my car, or, you know, I'm going to trade in my car, and I'm going to buy a new one. When you take in your old car, whether it's for scrap parts or whether it's to sell if it's not that badly damaged, you are going to receive some bit of a trade-in. Depending on how old the car is, how much damage the car is, how much wear and tear, you're going to receive some value for your car that you're selling. So we need to find what the trade-in. Usually they tell us, but here they don't. So they do tell us a way of we can, you know, that we can find it. There was a check paid for the new vehicle of 57 grand. But how much did the new vehicle cost? 96 grand. So the new vehicle cost 96 grand, but we only paid 57 grand for it. How was that? Because vehicle number 3 was traded in against this new vehicle. I handed in the keys to my old vehicle to get the keys to my new one. So the new vehicle cost 96 grand, but I only paid 57 grand for it. Therefore, I got a trade-in value from my previous car. That acted as my discount for 39 grand. So obviously I had, you know, still a whatever it was, delivery van or something that you know, was to the value of 39 grand, and I put that in here. I put this in again, my compensation. It's the difference between what the new vehicle cost and how much I actually paid for it. Balance on both sides, 91375. And then if I look at this here, this adds up to 91375. This only has 78 grand. So the difference here is my P&L, and it's actually my profit. If it's on the debit side, it's profit. 13375. Vehicle number 1 in the fridge is not as difficult. Vehicle number 1 in the fridge is here. So vehicle number 1 in the fridge, how much did they cost? Well, if I go up here to my account, I can see that they had cost 82 grand. I can see the total depreciation was 68675 for this vehicle. All I'm going to do, take those two figures, put them on the opposite side. So the cost was 82 grand. It goes on the debit side. This guy up here, the depreciation, this goes from debit side to credit side. So they both change sides, and you're just copying in whatever you see for the disposal for vehicle number 1 and the fridge. I got those two guys in. So what else do I need? Well, it tells us here what the trade-in. Vehicle number 1 was traded in for 12 grand, so I can put that in here. They don't tell us anything else. There's nothing about compensation. So now I know that this here is 12 grand and the depreciation was 68. That adds up to 80,675. And this here is 82,000. So 82,000 is the bigger one. I put this on both sides, 82,000. And the difference here, this side is short, the credit side is short, 1,325. Therefore that becomes a loss. It's a difference. I made a loss. It was worth 82 grand. This is how much of the lost value by. This is how much I got for trading it in. Therefore I received a little bit of a loss of 1,325. This is just me correcting the question that you had done for last week and started the week before. We'll be looking at a different version of these styles of questions for our next class. Thanks for listening.